What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Chase, and today we'll be talking a bit about the new TV series on Amazon Prime, Spider-Noir, which is a Spider-Man from a different reality from the 1930s during the Prohibition / Great Depression era. And my first introduction to Spider-Noir, besides seeing the comic book on comic book shelves, has to be the Spider-Man Alternate Dimensions or Shattered Dimensions, whatever the game is named. But that game where it showed all those different versions of Spider-Man from Ultimate 2099, our Amazing Spider-Man, and Spider-Noir. That was my first introduction to him, but I had a more familiar introduction, I guess a more, not familiar, but a more strengthened introduction into him besides Shattered Dimensions in the Miles Morales series, which I believe this series is kind of like that Spider-Noir in this one, because he does mention the multiverse, which I'm assuming this Spider-Noir is the same one from the actual multiverse movie. So going into this show, I'm not gonna lie, seeing that Nicolas Cage was reprising his role and actually playing the character of Spider-Noir, I have to say I was a bit worried at first, but going into the show, Nicolas Cage is like the best thing about this series, because oh my gosh, Nicolas Cage's performance, that's like probably the greatest thing about this series right here, his performance, because they let him do his Nicolas Cage isms to where he's like over the top every now and then, and it became for a really enjoyable experience, especially since he is this private detective who's, you know, not really in the best shape financially and also mentally as well, since he is still grieving from a loss from 5 years ago in his previous life. So to see this character, Ben Reilly as they call him in this show, I enjoyed it. Nicolas Cage really brought something to this character right here. Now, I have not actually read a Spider-Noir comic, but seeing this portrayal right here really made me want to go and read it, and it could be completely different for all I know, because this is Nicolas Cage and I'm pretty sure that he has some creative control on how he was able to interpret this character right here. But like I said, Nicolas Cage is like the best thing about this show right here. I really love his performance. Like I said, I thought this was something that was really going to deter me from the show, and I was like, ugh, I don't like that. But he's acting his butt off in here, and there's just certain things, like I said, that lends itself to being Nicolas Cage, so it kind of comes off for even better performance, especially since it's catered to him, where like certain things where, because this isn't the stereotypical Spider-Man story and the way that he got his powers is a lot different from the Spider-Man that we know, Peter Parker, there are certain isms that he has where he acts more like an arachnid, like a spider, where he's doing a little twitching thing, and I'm just like, that's just so Nicolas Cage coded. I really enjoyed it. But another actor I really enjoyed was Lamorne Morris. I remember he played in the New Girl TV show that I really enjoyed. He plays Robbie Robertson, and oh my gosh, whenever he was on screen, all I could think of was Eddie Murphy in like Harlem Nights or Life, because I'm like, he's doing his best Eddie Murphy impression right here. Like, that's all I saw whenever he was playing this character right here. And he's Ben Reilly's best friend / reporter at the Daily Bugle. He's basically the Peter Parker other half that works at the Daily Bugle, and he's always getting the pictures of Spider-Man. He's also, you know, kind of down on his luck as well, because he doesn't have a job at the Daily Bugle, but he is there for his friend. He's very supportive of him, and throughout this whole story, it's basically Spider-Man meets The Dark Knight Returns to a certain extent, because this Spider-Man right here is retired. It's 5 years later from when he used to be Spider-Man, or as they call him in the show, the Spider. And so he's kind of given up the mantle of with great power comes great responsibility. And so in this series right here, he's basically kind of relearning to become Spider-Man. He's getting back in shape. And that's one of the aspects I really liked about the show, because, you know, in a lot of Spider-Man media, when he gets the spider sense, that means he automatically just being able to dodge every single thing that comes his way, right? But in this show, the way that they interpret his spider sense, it's like he has a huge headache and he doesn't exactly know what it is, but he knows that something is up. And it's not immediate danger where it's like, oh, I'm about to throw a punch, so you better dodge it. It's more like a something is coming and I just don't know, but I sense it really bad. I did like the interpretation of how they use the spider sense in here. But like I was going back to, Ben Reilly basically coming back into the fold, bringing the mantle back of the spider, and him getting back into form. Like, he's rusty, like he's kind of washed, like every now and then he starts getting beat up here and there, but hey, this is a different Spider-Man. This is not Peter Parker. He be threatening to kill people. He's kind of like Arkham Batman, not as dark and gritty, obviously, because the show has a lot of humor in it and it's kind of a bit lighter than I would have liked it to be, but there are some darker moments in the show. But this guy is kind of washed, and him coming back into the fold, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna kill you. I'm just like, this is a different Spider-Man, and I do like it. And I really like the way that they integrated his backstory or his origin story of how he actually got the powers, because it's not the stereotypical, oh, I got bit by a radioactive spider. Well, It kind of is, but it's not necessarily the same. But going into this series right here, I like the cast of characters. I like the villains that they showed was Silvermane, Sandman, Tombstone, and Electro, which Electro is called something different here, which I don't mind it being different since this is a different alternate universe. And these characters are set in a way different time than what we're used to seeing. So seeing these cast of characters, Electro definitely did his thing. I like Silvermane. He was a bit I don't want to say the term foreboding, but I will say that he was a bit intimidating. And sometimes you just wonder like, yo, you guys got superpowers. Why are y'all afraid of this old man who obviously seems to not have any superpowers? And I like the fact of the city kind of at war with the underground drug crime thing, because Silvermane kind of plays like a kingpin like character within the series. And then Silvermane versus the mayor, and then there's that storyline right there. There's the Cat Hardy storyline with her trying to save Flint Marko. There's the storyline between Spider-Man, the Spider, trying to get his sense of being Spider-Man again. And those are just some of the things I really did enjoy. The only thing I really didn't enjoy in the series was that maybe it could have been a little bit darker. I would have really enjoyed that. And the ending, the last episode, not bad. The last episode isn't bad. I was just like, dang, like I kind of wish like this last episode kind of like had more going within it, because at some point I'm like, it doesn't feel rushed, but it felt a bit too quick. That's the best way I can say it. And I'm just like, for an 8-episode series, I do like my shorter series because they're a lot more contained and they're a lot more concise than a 20 episode season. But I was like, can we make this last episode just maybe an hour longer to really just wrap things up really nicely? Even though it kind of does with this 8 episodes. Like I said, I just felt like the ending was a bit too quick, but it necessarily wasn't rushed. But you guys let me know what you thought about this series down in the comment section down below. Also, one thing I gotta say that I really like the vibe and atmosphere. I watched the show in black and white instead of in true color because I felt like the black and white was the main way to watch it. And honestly, for the vibe it was going for, I think the show looks really good and I really enjoyed it. But like I said right before I started this, let me know what you think about this down in the comment section down below. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, post notification bell, and don't forget to comment your thoughts down in the comment section down below. But I'd like to say thank you guys for watching. My name is Chase. Peace.